Welcome to Travel Tracker Routing. This video will focus on making stops private stops. Many of you may have worked with software in the past where you had the ability to mark a stop as a sped stop. This is essentially the same thing. So I want to show you how you do this. We're going to go into the Stops tab and look just individually at how you mark these stops. So you certainly can do it this way. We'll go to the Stops tab and we'll just edit a particular stop. And notice we have some options here for the stop. This one is considered a private stop. So what that means is only a student at that same location can be assigned to this stop. So this is pretty much designed for those sped stops where you're doing a door-to-door stop. The only student that you'll pick up is that student. So you will simply just mark that as a private stop and save. And one of the advantages of doing this is when you are auto-assigning students or you are generating routes on the system that it will not use these stops to assign other students to these stops. So let me talk about how you might want to use this. So let's look at the routes tab, and let's say that you already have a sped route defined on your system. Let me show you an easy way to mark all of those stops as private stops. So I'm going to go to the routes tab and just scroll down to the bottom, and I have the sped bus 22, which we'll look at this and you'll see that we've got some stops designated on this. So if this were your route, and we have noticed 7 stops listed on this route, if we want to then kind of reverse this and say every stop that's on this sped bus 22 route we want to mark as a private stop so that you don't have to do them individually. So if you have this case, what you can do is go back to the stops tab, and we're going to filter for stops on that route. So if this is particularly a sped route, we will look at this and we will go to stops on using the sped bus 22. So if we take that, you'll notice there are 7 stops here. And so with that filtered to those stops, I'm going to go to the Operations tab and use a batch edit. The batch edit is a way to filter for a set of information, in this case a set of 7 stops, and edit something on all of those stops. So we're going to go into Operations and batch edit. And when I do this, I like to always check that the number at the top to make sure that we are not doing more than we think we're doing. So for these 7 stops, we are going to set these to a private stop by going over to this private stop section and setting those to private stops and hit save. And then that will mark those as private stops. So that is very helpful way to restrict your stops and how those stops are utilized in the system. So thank you very much for today's tip.